Wahoo, hey! Welcome to the Bike Lab today. I'm going to give you a little preamble on me so you understand where I'm coming from. So, I've been cycling for a long time. A little gray in the beard, see that? I'm not going to tell you when I started. I'm going to tell you I started before mountain bikes were invented. And so I'm a road bike guy. That's my entire background is road biking. And then about, 6 or 7 years ago, I thought cyclocross sounds fun. So I got myself a cyclocross bike, signed up for some cyclocross races, and did a bunch of cyclocross races. And in so doing, I found out that as a road guy, my bike handling skills were awful. But I do know tons and tons of stuff about endurance riding, and I do know quite a bit about cyclocross riding. And I am learning a lot about gravel riding. And what's interesting about when I say I'm learning a lot about gravel riding is that people, including me, have been doing gravel riding forever. The first roads that were made in the United States and Europe were made for bicycles, not for cars. People don't get this because we are so car-centric. The first roads were gravel. I mean, we say, yeah, there were roads made for wagons, buckboards, things like that, but they just needed tracks. You got two wheels that are going to go in the tracks, but when you actually start getting roads, those are made for bicycles. And it was the bicycle lobby that got those roads paved. Bicyclists have been riding on gravel roads since the bicycles were invented. And we had not very many tires. First, they started with a round metal tube shaped like a wheel with rubber on it. That was pretty hard. Then they said, how about we stick solid rubber on that? That was also pretty hard. And then somebody said, what if we made the tube out of rubber instead and filled that with air? And then we came up with the pneumatic tire, which is great because you could ride on a lot more surfaces and not get bounced all over the place. So that's a little history lesson of how we got here. And gravel is interesting because now it's this huge popular thing that some of us have been doing since we started riding bikes. But I remember when I started riding bikes, I would see a gravel road and say, oh, maybe I shouldn't ride down that gravel road. That's scary. And then there was this guy named Jobs Brandt. And here's a picture of Jobs Brandt climbing a gravel road. This is the Gavia Pass before it was paved. Rock overhang, so cool. And Jobs Brandt rode around on what we call sew-up tires, on tires that are the old-fashioned thing, the tube that's filled with air and then glued to your bike, because that was the good tires then. He was riding around in the 60s and the 70s, and still through the 80s and 90s he continued riding, but in the 60s and 70s, 1960s and 70s, he was a pioneer in cycling, and we did not have gravel tires there. And his point of view was, you should be able to ride your bike wherever you want. He is from the Peninsula area, San Francisco, the area that we now call the Silicon Valley. It was not called the Silicon Valley then. It was where Stanford was. And he rode all over on hiking trails in the Santa Cruz Mountains. He went to Europe and rode all the unpaved passes. It was very, very cool and inspiring. So, gravel riding is really popular. I've been gravel riding for many, many years. I've been gravel riding, but not really seriously and not really knowing what's going on. And now that it's become really popular, we have a lot of resources. We have a lot of tires. We have a lot of people who are out there learning the hard way about how you get yourself in trouble and how not to get yourself in trouble. So, I am going to cover some gravel riding, but I want to give you a little preface, a little, who am I, why do I know this, and what am I going to tell you about? So I'm going to tell you about some gravel riding, but I'm also going to be telling you a lot about endurance road riding because that has been my thing for a long time, and I know a lot about that kind of stuff, so I want to tell you about those things. So my next video after this little history lesson is going to be all about gravel riding, and then I'm also going to give you a how-to about how to get through a 100-mile ride like a century, or better yet, a double century. So I'm going to tell you about how to do those things as well, and so that'll be the next thing that you're going to see from me.